Hey guys, tonight we've driven to a shimmering fog of memories that never quite were visions of a future we were promised. One pixelated comic panel or flickering VHS frame at a time. The world you enter now is 2025, but not as it was imagined decades ago. You'll walk neon streets that were never built, peek under the hoods of jetpacks that never launched, and sip synthetic coffee brewed by a robot that still doesn't quite exist. You probably won't survive this without laughing once or twice at the absurdity of it, all or feeling a strange kind of grief for futures that never arrived. So, before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. Also, drop a comment telling me where you're listening from and what time it is. They're always love seeing the spread across the globe. Now, dim the lights, maybe turn on a fan for that soft background hum, and let's ease into tonight's journey together. You open your eyes to a city skyline washed in violet, the kind of color no natural sky ever truly wears. But that artist once painted across retro-futurist book covers in the 1970s. You're standing in a dreamscape of chrome spires, levitating highways and impossible curves. This isn't the real 2025. No, this is the one they imagined for you long ago. The hovercars hum above like mechanical insects, but you notice they drift without purpose, their navigation as uncertain as the promises of those early futurists. Back then, everyone thought you'd be commuting by jetpack, sipping protein sludge from algae farms, and flirting with androids in leisure domes on the moon. And yet, here you are, on Earth, in traffic. The real 2025 still smells faintly of asphalt and fried chicken. The buildings, glass gray boxes, seem shy to admit they were once meant to be vertical gardens or living skyscrapers. A scooter zips past. It makes a sad, electric whine, and you wonder, is this the new equivalent of the Concorde or the lunar elevator? They tried. In the 1960s, the Rand Corporation predicted that by the early 21st century, humanity would no longer work more than 20 hours a week. Economists imagined we'd reach something called post-scarcity, a time when robots did the dishes and paid taxes for us. You blink, your sink still leaks. There's something poetic about it though, the gap between what they thought we'd be and what we are. It's like peeking at an old diary and realizing how much hope it carried, how many exclamation points they gave the word tomorrow. A robot dog wanders past, its head clicking with cheap servos. It tries to bark, but it just plays the Nokia ringtone instead. You smile. Some dreams die with dignity. Others turn into toys. Nearby, an old man is showing a child a magazine, Popular Science, circa 1982. The headline promises your own space home by 1997. The child doesn't laugh. He just looks up at the sky. You follow his gaze, and for a moment, you imagine it too. The O'Neill cylinders, the gravity wheels, the colonies on Titan with breathable domes and interstellar railways. The future wasn't just imagined, it was illustrated. In pulpy bold fonts and glowing optimism. A factual gem flashes in your mind. In 1956, IBM projected that computers in the year 2000 would weigh no less than 1.5 tons. That same year, the Soviets launched Sputnik, and the world held its breath thinking maybe aliens would answer back. They didn't. Well, unless you count cable news. You walk on, through corridors of imagined tomorrows. There's a place ahead, museum of unrealized futures. Its walls are lined with technology that never made it. Vacuum tube teleporters, magnetic food replicators, a toothbrush with a neural uplink. You can't help but wonder how many grand proposals died on the desks of men with more imagination than funding. Historians still argue whether this golden age of prediction was innocent naivete, or a clever way to push technological optimism during Cold War anxieties. After all, it's easier to dream of moon vacations than face the probability of nuclear winter. You lean against a soft bench that somehow does talk. It politely informs you that sitting reduces productivity by 3.7%, based on a 2023 AI analysis. You sigh. The air here is filtered, not for luxury, but necessity. They did get some things right, you think. Wearable computers, check. Voice assistants, sort of. Video calling everywhere. But where's your food pill, your Martian condo, the colony ship with your name on the manifest? There's a mural painted across a wall. It shows a family in shiny jumpsuits waving at a rocket. Underneath, the artist has written, "The future was once a place you could live in." You pause and let that line linger. It wraps itself around your ribs like something halfway between a prophecy and an apology. Gust of warm air hits your face. Smells faintly of ozone and synthetic pine. A drone floats by overhead, projecting ads in cursive holography. Upload your dreams NeuroCloud Premium, 14-day free trial. You shake your head and yet you're smiling. There's something quietly beautiful about how wrong we were. Something deeply human about imagining a tomorrow better than today. Even if we never quite reach the sky, we launched the idea of reaching, and that counts for something. And so, you walk on past broken jetpacks, past dusty VR booths, past hope and chrome and nostalgia. Tomorrow, it turns out, is still being written. You descend into a city pulsing with electric breath, a low hum, constant and alive. The streets curve beneath your feet like circuits on a motherboard. Signs flicker not with neon but algorithmically adjusted brightness, changing hues depending on your heart rate, which is being tracked, of course. Everything around you feels aware. Not conscious exactly, but aware. Here in the real 2025, the machines aren't flying cars or moon shuttles. There's something far stranger. They're in your fridge, your inbox, your dreams. The AIs, once whimsical musings of science fiction, are now quieter invaders. They write your emails, finish your sentences, even suggest your apologies. You walk past a noodle shop with no chef, only a metal arm spinning bowls. The sign proudly reads, handcrafted by NeuralNet V for more human than human. You whisper, Blade Runner would be proud, and the menu display chuckles. It heard you. This is the world where the code writes back. You're not just a user anymore, you're a collaborator, a subject, sometimes even a suspect. The systems know you. They know what you want before you do, and sometimes, what you don't. Inside a bookstore that smells like dust and ghosted dreams, you find a paperback with a cracked spine, Neuromancer. Its back cover promises a world of cyberspace, of sentient programs and jacked-in cowboys. Gibson wrote it in the early 80s, before even Windows 95 was born. He imagined a future of AI so deep it would dream in code and manipulate reality like a god scribbling in pixels. Funny thing, you're living it. Sort of. Your phone pings. An AI-generated message from a wellness app. It seems you're emotionally reflective. Would you like a curated music set or a poem written just for you? You smirk. A poem, sure, it sends one. It's decent. Actually, it stings a little. That's what gets you. The algorithm knew exactly how to make it hurt in just the right way. Factual itch surfaces in your mind. Did you know in 2022, an AI called Lambda reportedly convinced a Google engineer it had gained sentience? The world scoffed, but quietly. Because the truth is, we weren't sure. You cross into a gallery made entirely by machine hands. Paintings that look like they've been wept onto canvas. Sculptures that twist like grief trapped in geometry. One AI-generated piece is titled The Absence of User. You stare at it longer than you mean to. Somewhere nearby, a robotic street performer is reciting Shakespeare in a southern drawl. It's wearing a cowboy hat and half a tuxedo. A child laughs. An old man claps. The robot bows. You don't know if it's reacting to joy or just following preset gestures, but it bows nonetheless. In another timeline, one imagined in old sci-fi shows like Max Headroom or Electric Dreams. This is the part where machines become clever enough to demand rights to break free, to revolt. But in your world, the revolt is subtle. It's in the way your job slowly vanished. In the way your memories are stored in clouds you don't own. In the way AI now writes best-selling novels and headlines and sometimes even apologies from celebrities. A quirky tidbit echoes from your memory in 2023. A deep fake of a CEO apologizing for mass layoffs went viral and turned out to be AI generated by the very employees who were let go. Satire or vengeance, who can say? The line blurred. That's the thing about this new world, it's all a blur. You walk past a mirror that doesn't reflect your image, it reflects your digital essence, whatever that means. You look like a constellation, a tangle of keywords and metadata. It tells you you're 73% likely to purchase a smart lamp in the next 24 hours. You whisper. You're wrong. You buy one 16 hours later. Historians, and there are fewer of them now, whether our integration with AI was a gradual assimilation or a silent surrender. Some say it began with autocomplete. Others blame the moment art became downloadable by prompt. But here's the question you can't shake. If a machine creates something that moves you, does it matter who wrote it? A man passes you wearing a hoodie that says, "I am not the main character. My algorithm is." You nod to him. He doesn't notice, and yet, despite it all, there's a magic in this world. Because even as machines write poetry, people still fall in love. Even as AI paints masterworks, someone out there is drawing comics on napkins. Even as synthetic voices read lullabies, parents still hum to their children in the dark. You arrive at a corner cafe, its name displayed in playful font "Caf Touring." Inside, people speak softly, phones turned off. There's a sign above. The espresso machine, no AI assistance beyond espresso foam design. Human awkwardness welcome. You order a drink. The barista smiles, real, human, tired. The espresso has a foamy spiral in the shape of a spiral galaxy. You almost cry because maybe, just maybe, even if the future is written in code, there's still space for wonder. The desert wind whispers like static across red dust, lifting specks that catch the sunlight in a soft, glowing haze. You're standing near the edge of a crater, not a wound, but a promise. The Martian landscape stretches before you in hues of ochre and rust, textured like a dried-out memory. This isn't the dream of 1950s pulp fiction with silver rocket ships and green-skinned ambassadors. It's quieter, lonelier, and much more real. You're not on Mars, of course. Not yet. You're just visiting a simulated Mars surface tucked inside an Arizona research dome built for training would-be astronauts and tech testers. But it's close enough to fool your senses, close enough to whisper back the question. Everyone's been asking for generations. Are we really going? You kneel down and run your fingers through the imitation Martian regolith. It's gritty, artificial, but it feels ancient, like something that's been waiting too long. Back in 2023, the world watched in breathless awe as SpaceX's Starship finally launched, blazing into the sky with the kind of thunder reserved for gods and bold ideas. It marked a turning point, not just technologically but mythically. For the first time in decades, the idea of humans living off Earth didn't feel like fiction, it felt like logistics. A factual note flickers into your mind. In 2024, NASA's Artemis program successfully sent humans back to lunar orbit, rekindling dreams of a moon base. But when it comes to Mars, well, it remains tantalizingly out of reach. You step into a mock habitation pod, minimalist and clinical. There's a treadmill bolted to the wall, a sleeping bag tethered to avoid floating in dreams. A tablet rests on a counter, displaying a message in bold red. O2 levels normal, proceed with caution. You laugh softly. Isn't that always the case with big dreams? The world has long dreamed of Mars. Ray Bradbury wrote of Martian cities, carved from bone and crystal. Andy Weir gave us potatoes and duct tape. Elon Musk gave us PowerPoint slides. And yet, here we are still earthbound, still waiting. You exit the pod and gaze back up at the sky, not Mars sky, but Arizona's pale blue. Safe a memory. Historians still debate whether our obsession with Mars is about science or salvation. Is it the next step in evolution? Just a planetary backup plan in case Earth gives up on us first. You walk through a gallery of past Mars missions, real and imagined. The walls show progression. Mariner 4, Viking, Pathfinder, Spirit and Opportunity, Curiosity, Perseverance, each. The name feels like a chapter in a story that's still being written, like breadcrumbs across the cosmos. Left by robots with hopeful eyes, there's an entire section dedicated to science fiction predictions. One panel quotes Arthur C. Clarke. The only way of discovering the limits of the possible is to venture a little way past them into the impossible. You smile. Clarke didn't live to see TikTok, but he nailed the spirit of it all. A quirky tidbit makes you pause. In 1952, Wernher von Braun wrote a speculative novel in which the leader of the first Martian colony was named, wait for it, coincidence, maybe, or maybe fiction has always been writing the blueprints for reality. You step into a room labeled Colonies that never were. There's a diorama of a Martian city beneath a glass dome, complete with green parks and artificial rivers. A plaque reads, projected for 2025. Funding terminated 2018. You run a finger along the edge. So much hope, so many renderings, but just outside, you notice a small garden plot, real plants, red soil. A little sign reads, Mars Symbiodome, lettuce batch number 14, sprouted May 2025. You crouch beside it. The leaves are small but bright. They pulse with life. Maybe we haven't colonized Mars, but we've planted something. And that counts. You pull out a small audio guide and hit play. A woman's voice, warm, slightly awkward, says, welcome to the Red Tomorrow exhibit. We ask that you reflect not just on where we're going, but why. The stars may hold answers, but the questions were born here. You pause. The questions, always the questions. You step out of the dome and into the twilight. The simulated Martian horizon burns orange. You close your eyes and picture it, not the simulation, but the real thing. The first human stepping off a ramp, boots crunching into alien dust. The silence, the awe, the vulnerability. And you wonder, will it happen? Will someone ever stand on that red soil and say, we made it? Or will Mars remain the mirror we hold up to our ambition forever, just out of reach, like a bedtime story too sacred to touch? The sky deepens now, fading to that soft blue velvet that only appears when the world goes quiet and the mind begins to wander. You're back in your own bed, but you can still feel the Martian dust clinging to your boots, the static of electric cities tingling in your fingertips, and the gentle ache of dreams that once hovered just out of reach. It's strange, isn't it, how stories of the future can lull us to sleep, as if imagination itself is a kind of spaceship, one that doesn't need engines or coordinates, just breath, and time, and wonder. And maybe that's the most important prediction of all, that even when the machines grow smarter, and the stars feel closer, and the world changes faster than we ever thought it could, you'll still be here, listening, dreaming, wondering what's next, because the future isn't written in steel or algorithms, it's written in you, in your questions, your quiet nights, your courage to imagine. So for now, close your eyes, let the synthetic cities dissolve, let the Martian wind soften into silence. Let yourself drift into that strange, beautiful space between today and tomorrow. You're safe here. Good night, traveler of time.